Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 28 of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And yeah, Larry is on the spot because that air tank ended up in the bush right by the boat shop. And now he's literally lying, even though we have the air tank in our possession. So, the fact of him blowing up a balloon with a damaged compressor is absolutely stupid. So ask him more about the tank. And of course, this is going to pretty much be you trying to get as much as you can out of Larry. So finally, he'll tell me the truth. The compressor was busted, and he tried to fill up the balloon with the compressor, even though it's busted. And sure enough, the tank and the balloon and the flag all flew up in the air and made a popping sound, which let off Lotta's camera. And more importantly, it fell into Gourdy Lake. Meaning one thing: Lotta literally did not see, she did not see Larry at all. Oh, and for the record, I think I jumped the gun a little bit. I mean, we can talk to Lotta Hart right now with what happened, but until we get information from Gourdy, there's no reason for us to even be here. So, if you don't mind, I will probably cut until after we get more on... Well, actually, no. This is kind of important to show off now that I stop to think about it, because I'm pretty sure people have actually made the mistake of jumping here before actually asking Larry about the steel samurai that ended up in the lake. However, she wants so much to get the picture of Gourdy that she even almost testified against... No, she did testify against Edgeworth, and it backfired tremendously. So there's no reason for us to talk to her again. That's basically us recycling the same thing. So I'll get back to Larry in just a moment. And we are back over to Larry. He now has a new option when talking to him. He talks about the air canister that he tried to use to fill up the Silver Surfer balloon and happened to be standing behind Maya. Well, it turns out, again, I've mentioned the compressor was broken and Larry still tried to inflate the balloon, not knowing the ramifications. While yes, the camera actually picked up the balloon's explosion, it also picked up the Mafia as well. So now, here's the big question. What happened to that, what happened to the balloon? Well, it turns out Larry was the one who fished out the balloon out of the lake. And to make things worse, the way he landed, and by he I meant the balloon, actually made it look like Gourdy, the Loch Ness Monster type being that happens to be in Lake Gourdy. So now that we talked to Larry, now we can go over to the woods and actually crush Lotta's dreams. Hold on, I gotta be prepared for this. Excuse me one second. Sorry about that, we jumped the gun and forgot to talk about the flying air tank with Larry. That's the only way to actually tell Lotta about the truth of Gourdy. And boy oh boy, telling her the truth I mean, it's gonna hurt, but let's be honest, she kinda deserves it, considering she literally lied on her oath and almost got Edgeworth killed. So, this moron here had sent out a boat to go and find this inflatable balloon that ended up launching into the air. That, unfortunately, was the boat that Lotta saw at the night of the murder. And that's another thing. This whole ordeal, the bang, actually happened the night of the murder. And let's just be blunt. He was here at the night of the murder, meaning he probably would have witnessed the murder. So, if that was the case, why didn't he say anything? Oh, we'll find out later, but for now, we need to give all the info that we have to Lotta. I gotta be prepared for this, because I want to see her feelings crushed. After all, again, she lied on her oath and gave us a lot of headache. On that note, it doesn't matter whether you say he doesn't exist or you say he does exist, you gotta have proof. Either way, you have funny dialogue. Specifically of Maya crying like, you found Gourdy without her. But instead, hand over the air tank. You needed to find the air tank in order for it to continue with the whole plot, so that's why. So it turns out, unfortunately for Lotta, that the pop she heard was the steel samurai balloon of Larry's, which in turn took a picture. Granted, it accidentally took a picture of the scene of the murder, but at the same time, it also took a picture of Edgeworth and Robert Hammond on a boat. Apparently, Edgeworth and Robert Hammond on the boat. So on that note, the whole entire time that everybody thought they found Gourdy, that was actually the hand of Larry's Steel Samurai doll. In other words, Steel Samurai blow-up balloon. In other words, Larry literally caused controversy because of his stupidity. To be fair, Lotta honestly brought that one on herself because she believed the tabloid. But she believed UFOs exist too, so that's why she got into finding out the paranormal and the occult. So, now that we got her the information we want the information that she has. Hopefully this doesn't make her too despondent to tell us. So, on that note, there was 2 witnesses, one of which just so happened to be at the boat rental place at the time of the murder. Meaning if anybody would have saw what happened, it'd be that guy. Oh boy. That just raises another red flag. How come nobody actually got him to testify as well? So now there's another photo as well. That photo, believe it or not, is also going to be used as evidence. And unfortunately for everybody, look at the time. 11:50. Something just isn't right with that photo. I wouldn't say that's the second lake photo. I would rather say it's the first. But despite this stupidity, Lotta just cracked this case open because of the fact that, again, Robert Hammond was reported dead at midnight. That photo was 10 minutes before. And of course, we have the old mantra, if something smells, it's usually the butts. Although that line right there is actually hilarious too. Someone should whip that butts into shape. Oh, give it time. He'll meet Francesca Von Karma. I'd say the third game anyway. But with that said, we do have to go over to the boat rental place. That is going to be our next point of interest. And more importantly, we'll finally see who this witness is, because Gumshoe couldn't even tell anybody about it. And he practically gave us an autopsy report and everything. Which was updated by Von Karma, because we all know how that is. Excuse me one second. Well, sorry about that. There was some distractions outside I had to take care of. And also the fact that my cat needs to eat. Obviously he needs to eat and he's going to come first. So I had to deal with him. So now we're going to be moving into the boat rental shop itself. So at the caretaker shack, we find that the caretaker is actually a senile old man. So with that said, this senile old man rocking back and forth, who just literally called Maya Meg, and Phoenix Keith. Needless to say, this is going to be an ongoing thing throughout the entirety of this part. Well, the part of us being in the shack anyway. However, don't be fooled by this old man. That parrot may actually be his own undoing. So on that note, this guy thinks that he's, well, talking to his kids, and he's thinking about leaving the pasta shop behind, even though he's in a boat shack. The parrot's name is also Polly, by the way. So, unfortunately for us, we'll have to deal with his senility until we can actually get some proper information for him. Which, by the way, is not gonna happen. Because, well, he's completely senile. Oh man, how to explain this? The parrot is much more competent than the guy who happens to be, well, conking out sleeping. So we're gonna have to talk to him and actually find out exactly what's going on here. And by the way, you'll have to play along at least in order for to get some information out of him. And he thinks he thinks you're his kids, and he also thinks that this is a third generation pasta shop with dough tossing. Yeah, again, I wouldn't underestimate the elderly if I were you. They may play senile, but that's because sometimes either they actually are, or they're hiding something and don't want the youngins to know. And 9 times out of 10, it's the latter rather than the former. So we're gonna ask about the boat rental shop. And he's still going to doze off like that. Jesus Christ. It is really going to be hard to get information out of him. He thinks that it's the wet noodle. Even though there's clearly boats outside. Oh. He thinks that the only reason why the boats were out there is like the kids think that it's popular to eat pasta while riding boats. So quite frankly, he is insane. So you're gonna have to present your attorney's badge to get him to get up and understand that, well, in order for to actually find out as much as you can, you need to at least get as much information as humanly possible. It took a while, but finally, the guy realizes that you're a lawyer and we're trying to investigate a murder. So, you think he'd actually comply? No, he's not. He's going to ask you to run the wet noodle regardless, so promise to run the wet noodle. Go along with his insanity. I know, he just said that you weren't Keith, but go along with his senility. By the way, and if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere further with it. You're going to have to redo it again, just for the sake of redoing it again. But for clarity, I think the Nintendo DS version, I think you got a penalty for it, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't actually choose not to promise to do the wet noodle, so I wouldn't know for sure, but for fear of penalty, I just went on and chose, hey, I'll take over the wet noodle. So, he's talking to the parrot. Who knew that parrot is going to be, well, something. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to show him the lake photo. Not the second lake photo like I accidentally did. You're going to actually have to show him the first lake photo. Which is, no, not that. No, you idiot. That one. Although he says he'll see it, and he'll expect you to call him Dad. Oh, now we can actually see what's going on. So, at least tell us what's going on. Unfortunately, he's going to keep on biding his time, so we're going to have to talk to him again. And this time, he said that it's pretty dark. So in other words, it was after midnight. And he did mention something about a bang. In fact, 2 bangs. And we've already confirmed that one of those bangs belonged to Larry. Because, well, Larry was foolishly trying to fill up a Steel Samurai balloon with a broken compressor. So that means the other bang just so happens to be from a gun. So, he's not going to tell anything else because any other knowledge that he happened to have, he's going to say in court. Instead, examine his parrot. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where things are going to be really interesting. I know it's asinine that a parrot happened to be, well, a part of this investigation, but don't underestimate that parrot. It's infamous for a reason. So, the parrot only acknowledges you when you call it Polly. Pay attention to this, because this is going to be very important. And by the way, I had to stop upload. You know how it is, 10-minute recordings of the DVR. I swear to God, Xbox 5 or Xbox One S or whatever the hell you want to call it, I hope that it has a DVR system that 1, does not have on this DRM, and 2, have it to where you'll be able to record more than just 10 minutes of video. So now that we've actually got what we need from Polly, I think we're going to have to talk to the bird. I think that's the next thing we need to do. So, let's talk to Polly at least. And he just made the biggest slip up ever. He said that he told everything important to Polly. So in other words, we're gonna have to talk to Polly. And Maya is talking about breaking and entering into somebody's safe by asking him the combination, which is literally 1228. Wow! You are starting to become more and more of a klepto. And this guy is talking about some guy named Terry who used to come over here and talk about how he's a kid next door, but he came up with a tattered coat. He's referring to Gumshoe, meaning Gumshoe tried to get as much information from him as humanly possible, got annoyed, and left. And Maya just went there and revealed something very fun, that the bird knows about DL6. She accidentally did that, by the way. And yes, if that old man knows something about DL6, that old man may be something of an accomplice. However, as soon as we leave, well, there's no way we could go back in, because the old man literally locked us out. Meaning there's something fishy about that old man. So we don't have any other reason for us to be here. So, now we leave Gourd Lake, and we move on to... okay, not the boat shop. We leave Gourd Lake, and we're gonna go on to the police station. Oh wait, before we do, let me show off something. Lotta is no longer here once you pretty much took her reason from being here away. Now we go to the police station. And now we find out exactly what's going on with that witness, because of the fact that the parrot literally said, "Don't forget DL6," and we literally took the parrot as evidence, didn't we? So, on that note, let's talk to Gumshoe, who, by the way, would probably be a little bit angry at you. Sorry, I touched the mic there. He'd be a little bit angry at you because of the fact that that boat guy was supposed to be top secret. So, even Gumshoe wasn't able to get anything from him. And we know how reckless Gumshoe can be with interrogations. I mean... ah, damn it. Stupid fly. Remember, Gumshoe went there and uh, picked up Cody Hackins and brought him down to the station when he thought that he was actually a prime witness to Jack Hammer's murder. So, you never know with Gumshoe. So on that note, we need to find out as much about DL6 as humanly possible. And as much as Gumshoe wants to, there's certain things that he can do. Or he can't do. He doesn't know much about DL6 because Edgeworth forbade the police to read the file because he didn't want anybody to know about the entirety of Edgeworth's past, which was DL6. So we're gonna have to use Polly to convince him about DL6. I know it's asinine, but that's exactly what we're gonna do. So now all we have to do is tell the parrot exactly what we forgot. And of course it may be unbelievable at first, and then you realize what just happened a few seconds ago, where Maya just got finished asking the bird what we forgot. And yes, it is bizarre that the old man knows about DL6. And we don't even know if he's connected to DL6 or not. But one thing is perfectly clear. DL6 has a lot to do with Robert Hammond's murder. So in other words, we're gonna have to go into the records room and check out DL6. So let's move to the records room, and we're gonna get as much information from DL6 as humanly possible. Again, I actually do like this case because it's an interesting twist. However, the case following this, not so much. Because they brought up how should I put this? Unlike DL6 that has major impact, the other case was pretty much because of how should I put this? The enemy being completely and totally power hungry. We'll get to that case as soon as we're done here in this case, because we only got maybe third day of trial, investigation, and the final day, basically. So now we're reading the DL6 file. And yeah, there's only 2 days left before DL6 is going to be closed for good. And the incident happened at the very courtroom that they were holding the trial not too long ago. So, an earthquake took out the courtroom, and Edgeworth, well, both Edgeworths and a security guard, or should I say a bailiff, just so happened to be in the elevator, deprived of oxygen. But as the three were unconscious, one of them was shot dead, which was Miles' father. So, on that note, there was one person dead, 2 people in the area, one of which was Miles Edgeworth himself, who happens to murder. Sorry about that. Fly got on the microphone again. And also, there is the thing about Edgeworth having, well, psychological trauma every time earthquakes show up. And lastly, we have to talk about every entry here. Because remember, DL6 is going to be used throughout day 3. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to deal with a mosquito. Anyway, it's getting more and more intricate that the fact that Miles was on the elevator at the time that Gregory was shot and killed. Now here's the thing. The Phoenix Wright live-action movie made Miles hate his father because he thought he saw his father tampering with evidence. As we saw earlier with the case where Manfred Von Karma called Lotta to the stand, it was actually Gregory trying to find out if the evidence was tampered with by Von Karma, and it was, which has resulted in Von Karma's penalty. I mean, that sounds like I just spoiled the whole entire game, but not really. This game actually has been out for quite some time. 2006 to be precise. The HD remaster only was released back in 2019. So with that said, the file actually has something on Yanni Yogi, who by the way was the clerk of court and the guy in the elevator at the time. In other words, he was unfortunately the person that was blamed for murder. And that's the person where Misty Faye accused him of being a murderer because of the fact that she channeled Gregory Edgeworth. And Robert Hammond ended up being killed. So now it all makes sense. There is a good chance that Yanni Yogi may still be alive. Although he was missing for quite some time, there is a good chance that he may still be alive. Question is, where is he? Because he could actually bust this case wide open. So now that Phoenix Wright is deep within DL6, it's now time for us to be prepared, because that may be used as a weapon against us in the next trial. So, from here on in, expect to have a very tough time, because if you thought for a second that Day 2 had a lot of twists and turns, and more importantly, a lot of instant game overs, Day 3, and I do believe the final day, would like to have a word with you. And speaking of Day 3, we're going to be testifying, or at least trying to break down whatever testimony that Dad happened to have. We'll find out exactly who Dad really is in part 29. This is RVman985. See you guys next time as we go into Day 3 of Turnabout Goodbyes. And you better read up on DL6 while you can, because if you don't, it's gonna cost you big time.